leader to take over the top spot in the city.
But first, Governor Mike DeWine just spoke out about mandating masks in schools. He says if he would, he could. Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, joins us now on the set of What's New. Monica, good afternoon to you. What's the governor's plea here?
He wants school districts to wear masks, but it's not just him. Last week, I told you how cases of kids with COVID is on the rise here in Ohio. We've also been telling you about those contentious school board meetings over mask requirements. Well, today, the Ohio Hospitals Association is taking the next step by directly asking all Ohio superintendents to implement mask mandates for their schools. Various CEOs of the state's children's hospitals joined the governor in his press briefing today. And while many are calling on the governor to establish a mask mandate, the legislature has tied his hands.
If I could put on a statewide mandate, if the health department could do it, we would do it. What the legislature has made very clear is that if we put on a statewide mandate, they will take it off. They have the ability to do that. There is no 30-day waiting period. They can do it right away. And the legislature has made very clear that if we put on a mandate for kids in school to wear masks, that they will take it off.
Okay, so how? Why? Well, back in March, you might remember, the Ohio legislature passed Senate Bill 22. It took effect in June and allows the legislature to override any health orders issued by DeWine and the state health department. So the law also limits the power of local health departments. Who does have the power over mask mandates? Well, the Ohio Constitution's home rule powers granted to cities and villages include the authority to make regulations for public health and safety.
Interesting. So there could be more coming out of this eventually on the city level. Can't come federally or state, but city level and school district level.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Is there anything that the governor can do, like sue over this particular law?
Yeah, he's being asked to sue over the constitutionality of law. He could, but that would be a political powder keg. And in his opinion, it could cause more problems. So even if he defies the law right now, the legislature, as he said, he could overturn it. So it's really in the hands of the school superintendents at this point. And DeWine added that about 50% of Ohio schools already implement some type of masking policy. But there is another bill pending right now that would ban local school boards from mandating masks. So when all this is said and done, we're just going to have to wait and see until the dust settles.
Wow. Whoever would have thought that a virus would become a political hot potato? That's where we are.
Pretty much.
All right, Monica, thanks.
Sure.
Well, the governor's announcement comes on the heels of our COVID cases continuing to rise here in Ohio. In the last 24 hours, 7,325 cases were reported. In the last 7 days, including today, the state's reported 49,500 new COVID cases.
All right, now just looking at hospitalizations, 344 new patients were admitted into hospitals across the state. COVID patients now make up 13% of the hospital beds across Ohio. That's nearly a 2% jump from just last week.
Now on your feet at 5, it is officially on. Cleveland's most competitive mayoral primary in well over a decade is happening right now. 7 candidates are on the ballot today. Here's the way this works. The top 2 finishers will move on to a general election that will be on November 2nd. That's when residents will get their first new mayor in 16 years. Today, however, it's all about turnout, and to help walk us through what we're seeing on the ground is our very own Mark Namick.
Okay, so 2.5 more hours, the polls are open. Turnout as a forecaster of the winner, is that true? Is it possible?
It gives us little hints.
Okay.
Right now, turnout is about 12%, which is lower than it was 4 years ago, which came in at about 13, but we still have the afternoon rush that could make up a difference. That is concerning to the newer candidates. They kind of look to engage newer and younger voters out there, and it's going to be really close in the race so far.
Does it tell us anything about who may have an upper hand? I know it's tough to forecast at this point because we just don't have results, but you said it would benefit the older candidates.
If turnout is low. Now, we are seeing some of those hints, and that is in the near west side. Justin Bibb has been campaigning hard there. He has seen better than normal turnout. in a couple of wards. But we're also seeing turnout really hard on the far west side. That's where Dennis Kucinich and Council President Kevin Kelly have been battling out. And we're seeing some pockets on the east side where Bashir Jones, who's a councilman, again, trying to engage the younger vote, and Zach Reed, former councilman, popping there. But overall, that number is still down, and that will make it tough to predict.
Okay, well, we've talked about people actually going to the polls. What about absentee ballots? Is this kind of the wild card in here? Because these were already handed in, they're going to be counted, and those numbers will be coming out a little bit later, right after the polls close. Does that change anything? Yeah,
those are good predictors. I know that Dennis Kucinich's campaign has really targeted the older voters. They like the absentee ballot, where Justin Bibb and Bashir Jones have tried to get people to go out and vote on Election Day. So if we see a big spike of numbers going for Dennis Kucinich at, probably get him around 8 p.m., that'll give us some sense of whether he did his job. And then we're going to have to sit and look and sift through those numbers. I think it will be a while before we know.
This isn't like a presidential election where the polls are giving us hints and indications. In your mind, are there two front runners?
There are 4 front runners, and I've been consistent on that. That also covers my bets.
Smart man, Mark.
But we have seen a cluster. We've seen Dennis Kucinich and Kevin Kelly. The newcomer, Justin Bibb, has definitely bumped his way in. And you know this is true because the other candidates started to attack him in negative ads. And Bashir Jones, Zach Reed could be there. We also have, the 6th major candidate, Sandra Williams, the state senator, the only woman. She has not shown up in the top 4 in the polls, but still has a decent base. There is a 7th candidate, Ross DeBello of West Park, who has not really had the infrastructure or the support to move on.
All right, Mark's back at 5:30. That's when he's going to tell us how this race doesn't just impact those in Cleveland. The mayoral race goes well beyond the city's borders, and we're going to talk about that in the next half hour.
Certainly matters to all of us.
So many implications.
Yeah, Mark,
we'll
see you soon.
Thanks, Mark. Well, Cleveland is not the only neighboring city holding a mayoral primary. Cleveland Heights is too. As a matter of fact, they are selecting their top 2 candidates to become the city's first mayor in its 100-year history. City residents voted in 2019 to change the city charter from a system led by city council and an appointed city manager to directly elected mayor. Supporters felt a true mayor would bring more hands-on leadership and increase accountability, matching the model run by nearly all other Cuyahoga County communities.
We need a leader who can react quickly and seize those opportunities so that we can have the vibrant and sustainable community that we all want.
There are 3 candidates vying for the job, 2 current council members, Melody Joy Hart and Khalil Sarin, and Barbara Danforth, best known for her executive experience. The top 2 will advance to the November general election. And we have everything you need to know about tonight's election on the WKYC voter guide. We will send you the guide right to your phone if you send us a text. Text the word VOTE to 216-344-3300.
Betsy, turning to consumer news now, and you've probably seen this. Signs posted just about everywhere you look. It says, now hiring. I know you've seen them. Some companies are pulling out all the stops to try and fill positions in this hiring frenzy, and that includes Amazon. The company wants to hire 125,000 new workers across multiple cities here in the U.S. But here in Ohio, they want to add another 9,000 employees, specifically 2,800 right here in the greater Cleveland area. Full-time jobs are in fulfillment and transportation with starting pay of $18 an hour on average, including different bonuses of up to $2,000. But that's not all.
Fantastic news is that all of these jobs offer comprehensive benefits that begin on the very first day. Access to programs like Career Choice, where Amazon pays full college tuition for its associates that have been with the company for more than 90 days, 401k match, and a whole host of other benefits.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
First day benefits.
It's incredible because you don't see that a lot anymore. And, it's so funny when you track the history of Amazon and where they started and where they are now. It's not going to be long before they're the country's largest employer. I mean, they have fulfillment centers all over the United States. And when you think about it, what was just this company that was kind of an internet startup and no one really knew where it was going It's now a driving force in our economy.
Well, and I think it's definitely in the employees or the job seekers, best interest now to kind of play the field a little bit.
Sure.
There are so many different jobs open, and it's a very competitive hiring market. And I think a lot of people have the opportunity to look at a whole lot of different fields and compare not just the starting wage, but you got to look at the rest of those benefits. That career thing that Amazon is offering, where they will reimburse the college tuition fees, that is a huge thing, and hopefully that's going to attract a lot of the younger people.
That's the hope.
And older people too. I mean, go back to school. Why not?
If it's there, take advantage
and let
of
them pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, still to come on What's New. Apple users, listen up. The tech giant unveiled new products today, from phones to iPads, and this is very important. There's a new update that we all need to know about. Our tech guru, Brandon Simmons, is going to join us after the break with a complete breakdown.
Then a big night in the Big Apple. We'll have all the buzz from the Met Gala at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. My hardy eyes are coming out right now. That's coming up in Pop Break.
Well, Matt Wentz had to catch a red eye to get back in time for work today, because he was rocking that red carpet last night.
Yes, beige carpet.
That's right. I feel underdressed today compared to what we're about to experience. But your outdoor dining forecast looking good. It was a hot day, obviously, up near 90 degrees. We are tracking showers and thunderstorms in from the west. We'll track those through northeast Ohio over the next 12 hours, coming up in your forecast.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brandon's microphone. We're talking about life at home is actually really good.
That was kind of a big day for Apple today from a few different angles. There's new software updates that you're going to want to pay attention to. That's probably the top story in all of this.
Yeah, it is big news. That news just announced before Apple revealed a host of upgrades to products, including iPads and iPhones. Brandon Simmons has the details and is here now with a breakdown.
It's a holiday of sorts for tech lovers. Apple today announcing updates to some of the products that millions of people use every day. With the rumor mill churning for months, there are many features people expected but may not have actually gotten.
There's no other device like iPad
Some of the largest upgrades come to the iPad mini series. It too now has a screen-only design with no buttons, along with 5G capability for faster data on the go. Add in a USB-C port, and it's ready to compete with its larger sibling.
Let's talk about Apple Watch.
The Apple Watch Series 7 is also coming this fall, but boasts only incremental upgrades. The best highlights are software-based, including updates to Apple Fitness Plus. And because the new updates are software-based, it means you don't need a new device to take advantage of them.
iPhone has forever changed the world.
And clearly, Apple isn't superstitious, announcing the iPhone 13 line of devices. With any luck, the devices will sell despite only getting what most would say are minor updates. The new iPhone 13, now available in pink if you're into that, has a new camera feature called Cinematic Mode to make your movies look more like the pros. And if you are shooting more video, you'll also need more storage. All iPhones are available with more space, including a 1 terabyte option for the Pro models. You can pre-order new iPads today and new iPhones on Friday, with them shipping on the 24th. Updated watches will come later on this fall. Now, notably missing from today's announcements were updates to Apple's AirPods, which were heavily rumored to receive an upgrade. If you ask me, the takeaway today is that there are no new must-have features for those with later model devices, despite Apple's push toward innovation.
All right, so there it is. Overall, I think the decision on whether or not you upgrade your device is really dependent on how your device is. Does the battery last, things like that? If it does, I think you stick with what you have. I don't think there were any must-have features where I'd run out right now and try to go get a new phone. And plus, the new software comes out on September 20th, iOS 15, so you're going to be able to download that even without buying something new.
Oh, that's nice. And speaking of software, when Apple sends out an emergency software update, usually that is a really big deal. It seems like this is a really big deal, is it?
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So they sent this out last night, and it's an emergency update. What it is any device that runs Mac OS, iOS, or watchOS, so that's pretty much everything. That's essentially all of their products. There's a security flaw that allows hackers to install spyware on those devices without any user interaction. So they can steal your data from the device and even monitor what you're doing. So good news, that patch did come out last night. You need to go in there and install it now if you haven't already. I did all of my devices. We were kind of racing through the newsroom, telling everybody else.
I did my iPad this morning. You said
took like
you
10
did
minutes.
Your phone.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. And basically that closes the loopholes and we can sleep at night now.
Yeah, you should be able to sleep at night without those hackers watching what you're doing.
And this has got to be an absolute nightmare for companies.
It is.
Because of the employee phones that everybody has their email and whatnot on.
That's very true. I'm sure you saw the email we got from our own company where they said, hey, here's how you do it. We want to make sure you get it done
right now.
Right now. Yeah, don't wait on this one. So got to get it done.
Big deal. All right.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Appreciate it.
Well, we turn to weather now, where, of course, everybody keeps an eye on the weather as well on their phones, certainly, with all those temperatures. But there's no personality in your phone. I'm sorry. We kind of are better than the apps in that regard.
Kind of.
I say that at every job interview, Betsy. And they say, you know what?
I'm better than the phone, doggone it.
The phone is still more accurate. So thanks for the job, WK.
You know, with all this talk of technology and updates and security, I yearn for a simpler time. So your weather word today, Matt, is cord, and you'll have to be of a certain age to understand this. Do you remember the days, and I know you do, when there was just a cord connecting your phone to a little box on the wall, and in some cases it was super long, and you could carry it into other rooms for privacy, and it would all bunch up. I miss the days of the phone cords, Matt. So give me cord in today's forecast.
You are the only person that misses the days.
I don't know about that. I just love nostalgia. I like the way things were.
I totally agree, Jay. And I remember, actually talking to my wife on the phone if her phone line wasn't busy. I remember curling that cord up.
This is back in the day of high school.
High school, yeah. We didn't just get married last year, so we do have
it's been
cell
a while.
phones. Yeah,
but out of boredom, you would curl it around your finger and.
Right.
Wow.
Boy, I twisted with her.
Talking to the ladies for a long time, huh?
Well, you know.
All right, now we've got 10 seconds for weather. Back to you guys. Temperatures right now outside, mild today, right? We'll call it hot. We were up near 90 degrees, still mid and upper 80s outside. We've got humidity that is still with us on that southwest wind. We've got dew points in the 60s, almost kind of feeling like maybe a storm should be coming anytime soon. You combine those two numbers, feels more like 90 degrees at times. Southwest wind's been pumping today. That's how we get warm air in here this time of year. It's all out ahead of a cold front. Area low pressure centered over areas of Lake Superior. And look what's developing right on cue. Areas of Indiana, we've got a decent line of thunderstorms developing where that cooler air meets up with the warm air, and a nice wind shift as well. We're going to be briefly cooler tomorrow. It's going to be nice, but until then, we've got some storms to get through. So you can see a pretty decent line developing. There's a severe thunderstorm watch out for portions of western Ohio and Michigan, and a couple warnings have been triggered there as well. And you can see, though, as we look at the Storm Prediction Center forecast, that's where the bulk of the severe weather is going to stay. These will be weakening as they move in, so we're a level 1 out of 5 in terms of severe weather threat. That comes very late this evening on into the overnight hours. So let's time it out with your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. You can see the storms arriving up towards the islands, maybe 9, 10 o'clock. That line advances eastward, maybe some gusty winds at the onset. Other than that, we'll have some rain and rumbles around, but not expecting anything widespread in terms of severe weather as these storms push in. They'll die out tomorrow morning. Boundaries still sitting here, though, so we've got the clouds that will likely spark additional rain and rumbles. Doesn't look like a big deal tomorrow, but we'll likely have the lingering clouds before eventually we'll bring in some very, very late day clearing. Look at temperatures Thursday morning. We're in the 50s. How about that? That's insane. That's going to be a nice big change over where we've been. In terms of the forecast, your Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, Thursday is a great day to cut the cord if you're looking to really get out of, all these contracts you're in, stuff like that. 79 degrees on Thursday. We'll warm up into the 80s Friday, Saturday. Some spotty shower chances Friday, Saturday. We'll have to keep an eye on it, and then we're back to the heat as we go into next week. We'll be back with more after the break.
We're going to be talking about the Met Gala and all the fashion that took place. Hello. Mo, I'm not in the intro, right?
We have some sad news from the entertainment world. Comedian Norm Macdonald has died. His longtime producing partner told Deadline that he'd been battling cancer for 9 years. Macdonald kept it private because he didn't want the diagnosis to affect the way the audience or any of his loved ones saw him. He got his start as a writer on Roseanne and then was a member of the SNL cast before starring in his own show, The Norm Show. MacDonald was 61 years old.
And a very funny man. He'll be missed. As we all know, the pandemic put a halt on a lot of events, especially in the entertainment industry. This year, the Met Gala returned, and it was worth the wait.
Oh, yeah.
In today's special edition of Pop Break, Kiara Cotton shows us the biggest fashion statements from last night.
Last night, the Met Gala returned to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, and as it does every year, brought out the biggest names in entertainment and pop culture. The event was in celebration of the Institute's new exhibit, In America, a Lexicon of Fashion, which lended itself as the theme. Now to the fun. Let's check out these looks. First up, the co-chairs of the event. Billie Eilish, Timothée Chalamet, Naomi Osaka, and Amanda Gorman. It's a solid group of looks here. Billie Eilish is giving us a timeless Hollywood glam look. Timothy is more of the new age swag. You know I love a sneaker moment. Naomi Osaka is highlighting her heritage, and Amanda is serving in her Navy Statue of Liberty-inspired fit. Now, to the showstoppers. Sierra understood the assignment. She embodied a glamorous version of her husband, Russell Wilson, and his Super Bowl ring, the perfect accessory to this Jersey-inspired look. Moving on to Lil Nas X, who came sporting not one, not two, but 3 different looks. Now, whether you like him or not, he knows how to get the people going. Up next, Kim Kardashian. I know it's hard to tell, but yes, that's her. And her mysterious counterpart. Was it Kanye? We may never know. And supermodel Iman, turning heads with this gold feathered headpiece. It was a highlight of the night. And it wouldn't be the Met Gala without some bold statements. AOC and Cara Delevingne both went with white fits and red writing to share their messages. AOC says to tax the rich, while Cara says peg the patriarchy. And love was also in the air. Check out these couples who took to the iconic staircase. Steph and Aisha Curry, just wow. They have my vote for best dress. Then there's Rihanna and boyfriend A$AP Rocky. Their look was highly anticipated, but not everyone on social media thought that they hit the mark. Hailey and Justin Bieber, to round us out, also hit us with a timeless black and white look.
And these were just a few of the looks. If you want to see more, we have a full gallery up at WKYC.com. And at the end of the day, Jay and Betsy, the Met Gala is all about making bold and unique fashion statements that encourage conversation. And this year's gala certainly did just that.
That's the thing. A lot of people are like, what are they wearing? What is that? I'm scared of that. And it's like, no, you don't understand. This is art of fashion. This is not streetwear or runway. This is a whole different angle on the fashion industry.
Absolutely. It's at an art museum, for crying out loud.
It's amazing.
I wonder how AOC's attire, Tax the Rich, went over at an event where the tickets were $35,000. I mean, I know Matt had to save for like 3 or 4 weeks to get the ticket to go.
You didn't contribute to the GoFundMe?
I did, but I did it anonymously.
You're so generous.
Well, I didn't want anyone to know. $35,000 for a ticket.
All about the beige carpet.
Kiara, thank you.
Sure thing.
Still ahead at 5:30, the shortages continue, but they're really hitting the restaurant industry hard. We'll explain what's to blame and tell you the latest local eatery to close its doors. And where is Bigfoot? I can't wait to see this. A staple statue in one local city is gone. And of course, we put Mike Polk Jr. on this case. We'll have the latest on the search coming up.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And we begin at 5:30 with 3 things you need to know. And we're watching the COVID cases very closely this week to see if this is the week they begin to plateau. Our numbers peaked last week with more than 9,000 daily cases. This happened last Friday. But with today's number of 7,325, we have now seen 4 straight days with numbers below our peak last week. So we'll be watching very carefully to see how long that trend continues. Ohio also reporting 344 new hospitalizations. That's still a very high number, but today marks the 6th straight day that number has been below our peak from last week on a daily high of 457 new hospitalizations.
Well, Governor Mike DeWine spoke today about mandating masks in schools with a rise in COVID cases among kids. He said if he could mandate masks in schools, he would. But the state legislature has the ability to remove it. So he's calling on the state's K-12 schools themselves to make the mandates, since they can. The Ohio Children's Hospitals Association is also taking another step to make the push for districts, saying they've directly asked all superintendents in the state to implement a mask mandate for their school districts.
And number 3, this is good news for job seekers. Amazon is looking to hire at least 9,000 people here in Ohio, specifically 2,800 people across the greater Cleveland area. Full-time available jobs are in fulfillment and transportation. Starting pay, average $18 an hour. That also includes bonuses of up to $2,000 being offered. The announcement comes ahead of Amazon's annual Career Day, which is tomorrow. There's a free virtual recruiting event with one-on-one career coaching open to everyone. We have a link for that event up on our website, WKYC.com. Great news there. And with that, we welcome you back to the second half hour of What's New. To those just getting off work and flipping us on, thanks for doing so. Welcome to the program with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford.
Nice afternoon out there.
Beautiful.
A little toasty.
Warm, yeah.
We have a big pattern change coming up. We also have a new meteorologist to introduce you to. That's coming up on What Matters Most at 6 o'clock. Can't wait to introduce him to everybody.
Terrific young man. I promise the audience now, you're going to love him.
Yep. All right, well, let's move on to our top talker. In a few months, the city of Cleveland will have a new leader for the first time in 16 years. Today, voters are casting their ballots to see which of the 7 candidates will move on to the general election in November.
Voters have until 7:30 tonight to vote. 3 News investigator Mark Namick is back. Mark, it's all about turnout today. We talked a little bit about that in the first half hour. What are we seeing? Any changes?
Ticking up a little bit, holding about 13%. And that's the same low turnout it was 4 years ago. And that low turnout could favor the older, more established candidates, such as former Mayor Dennis Kucinich and Council President Kevin Kelly. You know, they're relying on those older voters who you can always count on to turn out. Now, higher turnout would suggest that some new voters are getting in on the action, inspired by the newcomer Justin Bibb and Cleveland Councilman Bashir Jones. They're responsible right now, Jay and Betsy, for some uptick in pockets of the city on both the east and west side.
So interesting.
This race is certainly being watched very closely by Cleveland residents, but it needs to be pointed out that this obviously, because of the decisions economically that will be made by our new mayor, it impacts everybody. Tell us a little bit how that works.
Well, Cleveland is absolutely the engine that drives prosperity in the region. We all know that for sure. And the city and its leaders have a huge influence on attracting good jobs. We just heard about Amazon coming here. Their decisions influence those who stay downtown, whether it's law firms or manufacturers. Then there's the lakefront and even things like keeping the sports teams. That's all going to come from the mayor's office. You know, and let's not forget that the city's water department, which provides service to people as far as away as in Summit County and elsewhere. And of course, there's that thing called the regional airport, Cleveland Hopkins International. That is controlled by the city of Cleveland. Those decisions matter to everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. All the relationships, you know, that you may or may not realize are going on. This is his Super Bowl. He said it before. We'll say it again. Mark is all in on this, and he will be with us all evening, bringing the analysis and, of course, the results. Yes, no, maybe something by 11?
Yes, I think we'll have a strong prediction of who those top 2 are. But you know what? Here at 3 News, we're going to be covering maybe 3 or 4 to make sure that we have it all.
Awesome. I know you're on top of it. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thank you.
We have our voter guide available to you at WKYC.com, and you can find all the information on tonight's race there.
Well, the other big talker, all of the shortages that our community is trying to manage right now. It's really crazy when you think about it. Let's start with the labor shortage, because obviously that is one that affects everybody. Today, Slyman's Tavern in Menor announced it's temporarily closing, Betsy, because it cannot find enough workers.
And they're not alone. Late last month, Winking Lizard announced it was temporarily closing its Gateway restaurant on Huron because of staffing shortages.
The labor shortage is also causing a food shortage, according to Restaurant Business Online. There aren't enough truck drivers to deliver the food. Then you can add in actual shortages of actual physical properties. We've seen a shortage in glass. You say, well, glass, that's not that big of a deal. Well, no, it affects everything from ketchup to alcohol.
Sure.
They come in glass bottles oftentimes, and it gets to be a bigger headache because it all sort of trickles down from there.
And of course, let's blame the weather. Everything we blame on the weather, isn't it? Well, listen to this. If the restaurant that you're at is out of pickles or chicken wings, which this is like the worst possible timing of the entire year, it could be because of the bad weather in Texas that they dealt with in the last few months, from the cold to the dry to the extreme wet to the warm now. You pair that with the intense demand and supply limitations, and voila, you end up having a shortage. And I think this is one of the things the pandemic, a lot of people, didn't anticipate, right? I didn't anticipate the pandemic becoming a lesson in civics, because now we're learning how everybody can work within the system or work out the system to make mandates and rules happen. This is the economic side of the pandemic and the trickle-down effect that we hinted at back in 2020. But now it's still going on, and it's hard to catch up.
I heard a fascinating interview on the radio a couple of days ago about that very thing. Because we kind of thought that we heard there were going to be shortages, because let's think about it. Factories shut down everywhere, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide. But we didn't see those shortages immediately, and here's what I learned from that interview. We didn't feel those pinches right away because many industries have a stock sitting in shelves, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months in advance. Well, we've now depleted that surplus, and now when you go to Target and when you go to these different retailers and you look at the empty shelves, it's because now, even though those factories are up and running, they're trying to just keep up with today's orders.
Right.
Forget building a surplus. So this could actually linger, according to the interview, 2, maybe 3 years.
And they were trying to survive the economic downturn. Some of them didn't make it through the economic downturn. They were also competing for the employees who now have Amazon and all different restaurants and everybody to talk to. So it's definitely an interesting environment that we are in.
It certainly is. Still ahead this half hour, and speaking of restaurants, one very popular restaurant in Lakewood is changing the way it operates. Now, you're going to have to prove you're vaccinated or show that you do not have COVID in order to eat there. We'll tell you the latest eatery to be added to that mix.
And damage left by Hurricane Nicholas. I'll share the latest on the Texas coastline. But first, Matt has an idea and a little GIF for us, and weather in a Giphy.
I always have ideas.
Yeah.
They don't always get implemented.
Big idea with Matt.
Let's be honest with that. Yeah, today's GIF is what it feels like walking outside. Just kind of soupy, swampy. Need a bath after you get done with your little walk. That will change. As Betsy mentioned earlier, we have a pattern change coming up. We'll take you through it.
Is that from Star Wars?
I'm not sure. I don't watch movies.
I think it is.
Mic check. What's clicking in Cleveland today is the Let's Be Monsters bar, requiring. Okay.
Well, the Texas coastline is assessing damage left by Hurricane Nicholas, which reached Category 1 status just before landfall. As a matter of fact, the 11 o'clock update from the National Hurricane Center last night said we found the wind gust, and there it is, upgraded to Cat 1. Nicholas has been downgraded now to a tropical storm, but still many areas of Texas are expected to see dramatic rain totals, as much as 10 to 20 inches of rain in some areas as it continues to slowly turn its way up the coast. Nicholas will also bring torrential downpours to parts of southern Louisiana, where they are still trying to recover from all the damage left by Hurricane Ida. Certainly a struggle for those folks. And the problem is things just are not moving quickly. That storm is just going to slowly move one state, and it's like 5 days to go from like Houston to New Orleans. It's unfortunate how slow this thing is going.
Right, it really is. And Betsy, you know, I've always thought like Texas is the place where tropical systems go to die. Literally, they go there. There's no steering currents down there, and so they just rain themselves out. And as you mentioned, this is going to slip east slowly along the I-10 corridor. And with tropical systems, the wind goes up and then it comes down when it hits land. The rain does not. The rain continues. You deal with flooding problems after that. So it's not just a one-day event. This is going to be ongoing for weeks, unfortunately, much after Ida and all the damage there. Us locally, we're not going to deal with any of the impacts from Nicholas. Thankfully, all the rain going to stay down to the south. We've got our own impacts, so you can tell something's amiss. We had temperatures today up near 90 degrees. We had 89 at Cleveland, ditto that in the Mansfield area. Even Ashtabula checking in at 85 with that gusty southwest wind that we've had today. Still in the 80s to near 90 degrees outside. That wind continues to gust over 20 at times. That's out ahead of a line of showers and thunderstorms. So your rainfall chances will go throughout the evening. If you have evening plans for a walk, a run, take the family dog out, whatever it happens to be, we're good. When we get beyond sunset, when we get 10, 11 o'clock hour, that's when we're going to start to track these into the Cleveland area. Earlier off towards the west Sandusky, you'll probably see these around 9 or 10. And here's what we're dealing with. Line of storms. We had an initial line try to develop there. This will be the big show as we go throughout the next couple hours. Damaging winds and hail likely with that in Michigan. But as it moves in, we lose that daytime heating. We still do have some atmospheric energy that will sustain these into portions of northeast Ohio. But overall, our severe threat looking pretty low with this, as this line should be weakening as it moves in. Big picture, low pressure off towards the north, cooler, refreshing air. That will be here tomorrow afternoon and evening. Out ahead of it, we've had the heat and the gusty winds as well. National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast tracking that line in from the west. We're dry for pretty much everyone this evening. It's overnight tonight. Once we get beyond the 10 o'clock hour, they move into Cleveland. Maybe some gusty winds on the leading edge of this, and you can see how it all kind of falls apart tonight. The boundary's still here. Cold front's not through yet tomorrow morning, and you can see how we refire some showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty cloudy tomorrow. Temperatures will hold in the low 70s. The wind will eventually turn off. The lake will bring in drier air by tomorrow evening, so perhaps some late day clearing, and then a cool morning Thursday. We'll be in the 50s. Pretty much area wide. Latest on Nicholas, still tropical storm. You can see the heavier rain now spreading over to areas of Louisiana. As Betsy was mentioning, lots of flooding ongoing there. And look at this. This is over the next 24 hours. Doesn't move much at all. It'll eventually get caught up in the upper jet stream and get carried out. But in terms of muggy meter, we bring some humidity in here Friday and Saturday, and that's all courtesy of some of the moisture in a frontal boundary that'll meet this weekend. That will bring some spotty rain chances in here. That's the addition to the forecast. 20% Friday, about 30% on Saturday. Could get a quick downpour in here. Otherwise, we're talking 80s with the sun cloud mix and back up to the heat next week, Jay. Summer's definitely not done.
Yeah, not at all. Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Time right now to see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jay. Hello to everyone at home. All right, we've got another popular bar and restaurant to tell you about, taking it upon itself to create COVID restrictions. The LBM Let's Be Monsters bar in Lakewood is now saying if you want to eat indoors, you need proof that you're vaccinated against COVID or have a recent negative COVID test. Unverified people, as they call them, can eat on the patio or take their food to go. Here's my favorite part. They say you can show an Instagram post or selfie with your vaccine card as one way to prove that you got it. For the latest COVID vaccine and mask policies around town, you can text the word mandate to 216-344-3300 and we will text you right back with a link to our running list. The Cleveland Zoo is bringing back Trick or Treat Fest this year. Just like last year, families can wear their costumes into the zoo and pick up sweet treats while walking around and taking a look at the animals. Trick or Treat Fest runs Fridays through Sundays, starting Friday, October 8th, and it goes all the way through Halloween, which falls on a Sunday this year. The hours each day are from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And starting pitcher Aaron Civale has been named the Tribe's nominee for the 2021 Roberto Clemente Award. The award is meant to go to the Major League Baseball player who shows extraordinary character and positive contributions both on and off the field. Each team nominates one person, and starting today through the end of the season, October 3rd, fans can vote for their choice to win the award at MLB.com/Clemente21. We have that site linked on WKYC.com, and he does so many great things in the community, Jay and Betsy.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing that he does is before every game, he signs his warm-up ball and he sends that to the Cleveland Clinic for someone that's battling cancer for a kid. And that's just one of the things.
It's one of many. He's a great young pitcher. I mean, he's among the best young pitchers in baseball, but he's a better young man. And the Indians are lucky to have him. Speaking of the Indians, by the way, they have a doubleheader today with the Twins. They won the first game. I know, this is breaking news because they haven't been playing well at all, but they won 3-1. McKenzie gets the win. They are now 2 games below 500. Not great.
Not great for the Indians.
Yeah.
Of what we're used to, at least.
But Aaron Civale, you can vote for him
right.
online.
Go
There
Aaron.
we go.
Yeah, we're
All
big
right.
fans.
He gets it. Thanks so much, Steph. Next up, yeah, it's true. Somebody stole a giant Sasquatch statue from Cuyahoga Falls. Yeah, I know. Just saying those words is kind of a what? But we have Mike Polk Jr. He is on the hunt to track it down.
If anyone can find it, I'm betting on Mike. Then meet a little boy with some huge manners. These Disney princesses are very impressed with how he greeted each one of them. You'll see it coming up.
Top of the world. Got it, no problem.
We go now to our not-so-top story of the night. A popular Cuyahoga Falls restaurant is still missing its mascot more than a week after it was brazenly stolen from right outside its doors.
Security cameras.
You'd think,
that solves
right?
it. So here's how we solved it. We put Mike Polk Jr. on the case to see if he could track down what happened to Jimmy's Backyard Barbecue's Mr. Sasquatch and hopefully try to bring him home.
For ages, man has been in pursuit of the Sasquatch, the legendary ape-like creature purported to inhabit the forests of North America. Indeed, many have devoted their lives to the quest. I never believed that I would one day number among them, because frankly they're total weirdos, and yet today I find myself joining in the pursuit of the elusive beast. I've already ruled out one location where the Sasquatch can definitely not be found. This charming barbecue restaurant in Cuyahoga Falls, where he was last sighted.
He was here for 6 years.
A 7-foot-tall Bigfoot statue that long stood watch outside of Jimmy's Backyard Barbecue on Graham Road was brazenly snatched last week.
He was bolted down with 6-inch lag bolts. So, I mean, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
They had to have the proper tools.
The statue, affectionately known as Mr. Sasquatch, was swiped by heartless Yeti poachers in broad daylight during the wee hours of the morning. Restaurant owner Judy Blair was understandably despondent.
Why? Why did you do it?
Yeah.
I mean, you took something fun out of the community. Why?
And the community is still reeling.
I didn't even know if I could order food when I pulled in, you know?
that important?
He's that important here in the community.
Well, my hope is the culprits are watching this right now, and they'll have a change of heart and bring Sasquatch back.
As far as potential suspects, Ms. Blair says she has no idea who would be motivated to make off with a Bigfoot statue. But as her restaurant is in proximity of both Kent State and Akron U, some have suggested it may be part of a bizarre hazing ritual.
You know, the school just started back.
Teens? It's always
or
teens.
College frat initiation.
Right.
We know that it's a 2002 to 2005 Ford Explorer, because that's on the footage of the camera. We know it was 2 men.
I examined the scene of the crime for clues.
Okay, yeah, there's a skid mark. Yeah, it was a Ford Explorer.
Fortunately, though the trail was cold, the barbecue was not, and I had a lot of factors to ponder.
Could be anybody.
The restaurant is even offering a handsome reward for the safe return of the majestic beast.
So you bring this thing back here, you get barbecue, you get $1,000.
Yeah, and a sandwich. I'll give you a pulled pork sandwich.
You're even gonna get a pulled pork sandwich for your effort, you felons.
Like so many Bigfoot hunters before me, today I came up short. But the quest continues, and I vow I will not rest until I've either found Mr. Sasquatch or sampled every item on the menu while trying.
Come home, Mr. Sasquatch.
These are good. Now, the thing is, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. When I was up to my youthful shenanigans back in college, I could see me doing something.
Yeah,
like this.
I could see me
doing that with some buddies and you know. Of course, I wouldn't do that anymore. I've grown up a lot, and plus, I don't think I could lift that thing anymore.
It would take 6 of you.
My back is shot. But I wouldn't do it. But I sympathize if you're watching this, criminals, and you probably are. That's our demo. You guys, though, here's the thing, though. If I were you right now and I took it and then I was watching this in college and I saw that some nice lady wants her Bigfoot statue back, I'd be like, all right, joke's over.
Yeah, let's take it
back.
home.
At least College Mike would have done that. I can't speak for these people.
Well, these people, what might motivate them, the $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000.
Yeah, that would motivate them.
And the brisket.
The sandwich would do it for me.
I would be good for the sandwich. What was it about the smell of those tire tracks that led you to believe that it was definitely a Ford?
Secret to the trade, my friend.
All right.
Secret to the trade.
That's why we put you on the case.
Yep. No problem. Right. Good luck. Bring them home.
Very good, Mike.
Tell the restaurant if you have any tips. Reach out to their Facebook page.
We'll be right back.
Holla, holla, holla. I'm Matt Babb, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Good evening, and thanks for being with us. I'm Russ Mitchell.
Mic check 1 2 3. ABCDEFG. Mic check 1 2.
How cute is this little guy? He's at Disney World watching a parade, and whenever a princess waves at him, he tips his hat to them. And that surprises Snow White, many of the other, look at this. And that surprises them, and they curtsy back to show their appreciation. The little prince has some really good manners. Look at this.
He's raised right.
Look.
That's
okay.
Raised right.
Yeah.
We're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. We're back tomorrow at 5, and we hope to see you then.
What Matters Most with Russ and Lena starts right now.
Now at 6, mask mandate.
What you're hearing today is hospitals are filling up. And it's a threat not just to your child if your child has COVID. It's a threat to your child if that child is an auto accident, any other problem.
Governor DeWine goes on record explaining his feelings on mandating masks in schools. Also, election countdown. Voters still have a little while to cast